everybody. This is Peter from
Hi.
Different Tail Games. They're creating.
Well, to be perfectly clear, I'm from Walkabout Games. We're the publisher of the game, but we're in a really close relation with Different Tales, and we're friends for over, I think, 20 years.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you just to introduce yourself, talk about
Okay.
like Werewolf, the Apocalypse, Heart of the Forest, real quick, and like what you
Okay.
kind of do for the game.
Yeah. So, hi, my name is Peter. I work for Walkabout Games, for the publisher of Werewolf of the Apocalypse, Heart of the Forest. My main job was to make all the PR and marketing activities, plan the campaign, but also consult the game and how to make it better. So not only consult the scenario, but also add the ideas and tell the team what I think should they change, and also watched all the previews that all you guys did, and thank you for this very much, and tell them how we can improve the games. So, like for example, the things that you will see in the full game, like the tooltips that will help you to how to pronounce the Polish words, were based on your previews or the other stuff that I think would be nice for you.
I super thank you for
Oh,
the pronunciation.
and I'm the guy who's running the Werewolf Apocalypse Hatterforce Twitter account. So, yeah.
Yeah, I also super thank you for the pronunciations.
Yeah.
I only speak English and Spanish, and so when I looked at the name of the forest, I was like, Puch, Put, Puchka?
Oh, we try even we were thinking about doing like this video with compilation of people trying to say either Białowieża or Hajnówka. And I think we'll probably we'll make it, but maybe after the lunch, because now it's really crazy period for us.
All right. My next question is just generally, why specifically make a Werewolf of the Apocalypse game? I know there's a lot of different World of Darkness items out there to choose from. Why go for Werewolf of the Apocalypse?
Well, we got a set from the IP on the Paradox the games in which we could make our game, the systems. We chose Werewolf because, for starters, there are no werewolf games, no video game werewolf games. And we thought that vampire is a really saturated group of genre right now. So there are a lot of vampire games, a lot more are coming. And also I think that werewolves are become more and more relevant, especially now. Mm-hmm. So back then, when we get to know them in the 90s, they were like the superheroes, like Captain Planet, but more violent. And it didn't quite make as much impact on us. But right now, with all the climate change situation, with the pandemic, with the fires in Australia, now it seems that we've gone too far as humans, and we need this werewolves to come back and teach us a lesson, right? Mm-hmm. So I think right now it's even deeper for me than a vampire, because we get used to all this eternal whining, like, oh God, I'm eternal, oh God, my humanity. And the werewolves had a cause, and this is like this tragic battle, because like in Greek tragedy, because we see them as tragic warriors who probably fail with their mission, but will do anything to save the planet. And also, like in any good Greek tragedy, you can see how their choices make in anger sometimes bite them back. Mm-hmm. And because the rage is fueling them. So in a sense, the more you can do, the more harm you will do to yourself. So it's also like it's really interesting dynamics in these characters.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I do have another question. So, I'm an American, obviously, with my accent and everything. And I've never, like, known a whole bunch about Poland. Like, I've never, like, interacted with the culture very much. The closest I got was, like, Germany, and then I went to Italy for a little bit. So, can you tell me how Polish culture influenced the game and what changed because of that?
We really wanted to tell the story that we knew well, and we will know how to tell it. So we chose the regions that are close to us and the culture that is close to us. So for starters, you can see all the local legends and all the myths and all the mixture of the cultures that are in the Białowieża region, because it's a mixture of Polish, Belarusian, and other nations that live there for centuries. So we even when we prepared the game, we took down those legends, write them down, so we can show you how this region looks. And I think it's really nice to finally see the world in the world of darkness, because when you live in Poland, you usually it's like Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, of course, Chicago, and maybe Canada, but not much of a Europe. But for sure, there were source books to the pen and paper or tabletop RPGs, but not much in many in the video games. So I think it's really nice that people can explore the different regions of World of Darkness and get to know how they operate. In our game, you will see how werewolves from different regions react to each other. What do they think? Or what are their opinions and how they are? And they are not the standard American ones, which we all know and get to love some years ago. So this time you get to know some different parts. And even you go like with little things like Cabanossi, you can see the local wolf legend, you can see the small towns, how they look, because they were all, the team went down to Białowieża, make some pictures. So all that you can read about in our game, it's based on very pictures. And I think in our review guide that we sent to you, there are some pictures that were made to show you how close we are to the real deal.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Okay. This leads me to my next question. I've played the beta as well, so I need to know where this super unique art style comes from, and how you find it, or how you made it, or just generally what made you land on specifically these interesting like layers of images. Because I know when I played Coteries in New York, I was like, ah, yes, concept art, things I am
Yeah.
used to. But then I turned on, Heart of the Forest. I'm like, oh, visuals. Oh boy. So,
So we're old people, like most of us are over 40. So we grew up reading role-playing source books. So I think that our game takes place in your imagination, like with tabletop RPG. So what we try to do is not to get the exact image, but we want to try to ignite your imagination and support it, so you can imagine better. And when you see the illustrations or the art in the vampire or in werewolf source books, it is this like a kind of abstract stuff that makes you more think and helps you imagine better, and not like detailed picture of a scene. And also, like if you're looking for the biggest inspiration, is of course our one of our favorite comic books, graphic novel, Sandman covers, because we just love them. So in a sense, I think that we do have a distinctive art style in the game, and it's one of the highlights of Heart of the Forest. But also, it's really goes along with our pursue the goal of bringing the single player tabletop experience to the video games, because that was the main goal, to make you feel like you're role playing, not reading.
okay. All right. Thank you. I have about few more questions. I need to know, what is your single greatest struggle that you and your team faced while making this game? The thing that was your biggest
Oh,
roadblock.
huh. We had, well, initially we wrote down several stories that we wanted to tell. So it was really hard for us to decide which one. We went with origin story because we thought if there is no werewolf for 14 years and there is no werewolf apocalypse, the fifth edition of Werewolf Apocalypse, it might be nice to give players the introduction to the setting. So this one was hard. We did a lot with the rage and trying to figure out how to write on the different rage levels, how you might see the world. And we really tried not to make the high rage path too easy or too fun, because the initial test show us that people like the high rage path. So we needed to make it more complicated. It is hard to tell because it's based on real story, on real events that happen in Poland. So we really tried how to translate this world so everybody from overseas and other countries could understand what really happened. And I think like imagining how would werewolf in Poland work, what could happen, because it's the terra incognita. Nobody even wrote about it. Of course, Białowieża Forest, it's mentioned in the Zimisi source book as a place of Zimisi, but this empire, and I don't think there's any other mention in the Werewolf source books. So I think the creative work, of course, apart from coding, making things work, because you need to have that every description fit another and everything work on time and make this game popular, which was also a hard task.
All right, all right. Yeah, I understand totally about trying to reach new players with a video game. I myself found Vampire via Bloodlines 1 only on because I was looking on Steam and I was like, oh, discount little vampire game, I'll see what it's about. And then now I'm here. Okay, last question.
And well,
Oh, yeah, go
can
ahead.
I just add stuff? I also think that we really did a good job with like putting real issues into the video game, because usually video games are fun and you just solve problems from the imaginary world. And in our game, it's a real problem. And we tried to teach you something, like you can learn something about Poland, about what happened and who was right and who was wrong, because we show you different approach to this complicated issue that happened back there. So if somebody after playing this will think about it, what he would do and how this thing should work, it will be our greatest achievement.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Thank you. So
Yeah,
last
because the logging situation that it's happened, like you can read articles in New York Times, BBC in 2016, in 2017, and the outcome wasn't obvious, right? It wasn't so easy. So we tried to put a lot of this, how humans can interact and how humans can intervene in the nature, and when it is a nature, and if nature needs it, and if yes, how hard should we help it?
Yeah, and I'm sure that because I myself I don't hear a lot about what happens over in Poland or
Yeah.
European countries in general, just because like I'm focused so solely on what I'm looking at. So it's nice to see that and learn about that when normally I wouldn't have access to something like that. So that is really cool that you and your team have put that in your game.
Thank you.
So last question, I promise. Um, if you were to describe the game to someone who's never played a World of Darkness game before, how would you describe it?
So it's a game about a young American woman who comes to solve a mystery from her family's past to Poland, and then she came across a complicated ecological issue about logging in one of the last primeval forests of Europe. And while she learns about it, she also sees that there is like this hidden world, and there's an eternal battle going for a long time between forces of nature and their opponents.
Interesting. Okay, thank you. All right, that is all the questions that I have. Is there
Okay.
anything you want to tell the audience right before we sign off here?
Yeah, I would really like to know what your opinion when you will have a chance, and it will be on October 13th, to play the game. Please reach us and tell us what do you think about the game, because it's a new territory for us. We never did a werewolf game, so we wanted to hear from you. Is this the game you wanted to play? Is this the vision of werewolves that you can come along? And who was your Maya? Because I think that one of the most unique things about this game is that you create your character while you play. So we take a look at your choices, and based on this, we try to determine who your Maya are. And based on this, we show you the world differently. So it's kind of like you creating your character while playing. And because we have so many variables in the game, and I don't tell that all of them are like major changes, but we've got around 200,000 variations of the game. Like, of course, from the big ones to the small descriptions stuff, 5 main endings. So I think many of the playthroughs will be unique, and we would really love to hear what's your story, what's your Maya story was, and how you liked it.
Well, I'm sure you'll get tons of people that will reach out to you guys as after the game is released, as well as myself. I'll probably text you as soon as I finish it.
Awesome, counting on it.
Yeah, definitely. Tomorrow is the big sit down all day and play the game, as well as probably Thursday.
Yeah, and also I would like everybody to advise to play it at least twice,
Mm-hmm.
because because you played the
Multiple
game,
endings, yeah.
yeah, but also many different middles, because there are many paths you can choose, and depending on your choices, your story will be really different.
Okay, well, I will have to make time though. I like to, when I settle down to play this game, I want to make sure that I have hours to just immerse into it, put on the headphones and all that. So
Okay.
I'll probably make some time for that myself. Anyways, that's all the questions I have. Thank you so much for being here,
Thank you.
for making time for the Zoom interview. I know at time zones it's a little hard to
It's like,
schedule, but
yeah, but we're used to talking to American press during the night, so that's fine with us.
well,
And
thank
I
you
really
again.
hope that you will like a game. Let us know.
All right, thank you again so
Okay,
much
thank you.
for joining us and joining me here.